everybody. Before we jump into today's episode, we have two sponsors we want to say thank you to for supporting this show. The first one is Routine. You guys have heard me talk about Routine, honestly, back from the early days of the podcast, and it's still a product I use every single morning. They have a prompt for me here. I'm going to do a little impromptu on this ad read today because honestly, this is a product that I truly believe in. And so I'm just going to tell you guys exactly what I think and why. First and foremost, this is a stat that they shared, but when you sleep, you lose between a pound and a half of water. And most of that's just sweating while you sleep. I used to not know if that was actually true, to be honest. I felt like a pound to a pound and a half of water seemed like quite a bit while I slept. But the one thing I did constantly pay attention to when I started using Routine was just the fact that before using Routine, I always felt a little dehydrated in the morning. And I'm one of those people that when I get up really early usually. I work out. One of the first things I do is some form of fitness. It's just like what I do before everyone's awake. And so it's very easy for me to grab a coffee, pre-workout, an energy drink, something with caffeine in it, and just go. When I am good about using Routine, first, I basically they come in these little single serve packets. They contain half an organic lemon, a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, Himalayan sea salt, all 6 essential electrolytes, and they have no sugar in them at all. A lot of hydration products are going to have sugar. So one of the things about Routine that I love is that there's no sugar in there. So when I am good about doing this consistently, I will take one of those single serve packets, I'll throw it in my mixer bottle, and whether I also put in a pre-workout or something with caffeine or I just drink that separately, I try to drink that first. And the days I do that, I do genuinely feel hydrated and just have a different form of clarity all morning. A lot of people have tried to make their own homemade versions of Routine, right? You see people they take a shot of the apple cider vinegar, they put a little sea salt, a little lemon in a drink. This is essentially that, but in a product that you can take with you on the go, have it ready for you first thing in the morning. I know me personally, when I'm groggy rolling out of bed, the last thing I want to do is, squeeze a lemon, cut lemons up, go get the apple cider vinegar, find my sea salt. I just rip this packet open, throw it in my water, drink it, and it's good to go. You can try yours today. If you haven't tried it yet and you've been listening to this podcast for years, just try the damn Routine. Give it a shot. You can use code ShaneWhite30 and get 30% off your first order. So you get 30% off by using code ShaneWhite30 and go to yourroutine.com. To make it even easier, I've added the link to yourroutine.com in the show notes. So just click on the show notes for this episode, click on the link to yourroutine.com, and don't forget to use code ShaneWhite30. All right, guys, today's episode is also brought to you by NeuroRoast. Again, I'm going to go a little off script here. NeuroRoast is a product that I also came across during this year of 2023. They are a coffee company that's helping you optimize your brain function and overall well-being. This is another product that, to be honest with you, when I first started working with it, I was a little on the fence. I was like, do I really want to have mushrooms in my coffee? Well, folks, I will tell you, when I use NeuroRoast, one of the things that has stood out to me the most is I'll back up. People that know me know that I have way too much caffeine, typically. One of the things this year I've done a good job of is cutting out alcohol. Not completely, but predominantly, I don't touch a lot of alcohol anymore. What I think I've actually done the other way, though, is add a lot more caffeine. So I do definitely drink too much caffeine. That's something I need to work on next year, is to try to minimize how much of that. But NeuroRoast is something that has actually helped me because of the way they've formulated their coffee. Like, unlike regular coffee, which is, still something I consume, but NeuroRoast specifically doesn't cause jitters or crashes. Mushroom coffee provides more balance and sustained energy, allowing you to stay focused and productive throughout the day. So the times I do use NeuroRoast, I'll be honest, I just don't feel that jittery, like, I'm jumping out of my chair or standing here at my desk jumping around feeling. So give NeuroRoast a try. They have some really good flavors. I'll be honest too, the two guys that started NeuroRoast are just really good dudes based out of New York, and they're hustling, and hopefully they can get some people to try NeuroRoast this holiday season by listening to this podcast. So for you folks who've been on the fence, I'm telling you, it tastes delicious. They've done a fantastic job of making this coffee not only be functional, but taste fantastic. And if you want to try NeuroRoast, you can use code ShaneWhite. So it's super simple, just ShaneWhite at checkout. you'll also get 30% off. So if you go to neuroroast.com, and once again, I have added that to the show notes. So just click into the show notes while you're listening to this episode. You can click on NeuroRoast link directly. Don't forget to use code just Shane White, and you'll get 30% off your order. Hope you guys love both these products. I'm trying to not only bring you guys products that I use, but that I believe in on the podcast. I'm not taking ad reads for any brands that I don't really believe in. So anyway, hope you guys love both those products, yourroutine.com and neuroroast.com. I've added those links to the show notes. I hope you guys love it. And I got an awesome guest coming up right after this. All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Shane White Show. I got my good old friend, repeat guest on the podcast, Andrew Malott. Andrew, what's up, buddy? Welcome back.
I think this is the fourth time I've appeared on the Shane White Show.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I was thinking before this 3, and then as you said that, I think you're right. I think it is 4. You've been on some foundational ones, end of year recaps. We have some good ones. You were the very, very first one. So every time you come on, it's fun because as it changes and evolves, and obviously you just get older because I started it so long ago.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think I've been on, I don't know how long you've been doing this, but 3 or 4 years probably.
Like February of 2020. Yeah. Yeah. So basically 5 years. Yeah. You have. That's right. Today's an interesting day. I'm going to try to get this one out pretty quick after too, just because I think some of the things we'll talk about today will be timely. It's April 4th, Friday. All this tariff news stuff came out the other day, and the market's been down like crazy the last 2 days. So I thought it'd be fun to get you on for a couple good reasons. The first one we'll dive into is the housing market and just what you're seeing. You're obviously in the weeds of it. I guess before we dive in, people who haven't listened to the other episodes, give a quick overview of you and what you do, and it'll make a little more sense for people.
Yep. So I'm a real estate agent and team leader here in Indiana for Whitetail Properties Real Estate. Going into my 5th year. We're more on the rural side of things. So it's all land focused, rural homes, and we do land auctions as well. So we're very focused out in the middle of nowhere. Don't get me wrong. We'll work in bigger towns as well, but our main focus is recreational land, farmland, timberland, all that stuff.
Nice. And what's the full area you cover for people who are listening to this locally?
Yep. So I'm partners with Tyler Fritz. He's a good friend of mine. We cover central Indiana from state line to state line, Illinois to Ohio. So we're basically right above Indianapolis and spread all the way across central Indiana.
I'm always amazed, obviously before I knew you and you got into this business, real estate agents from where I'm from, it's like you cover like a town, maybe a couple towns. You cover such a vast array of area. It's insane. Like you do a lot of traveling, a lot of like just going to a listing or seeing a property could be half your day, right? Or a full day of
on the road.
driving.
There's a lot of properties that I have that are 2 hours away, sometimes even a little bit further. But right now we're covering 27 counties. We have an open territory up in the northeastern part of the state by Fort Wayne. So that gets us up to 43 counties that we're covering right now. So we are all over trying to fill the gaps.
Is it hard some weeks to just even cover all the opportunities and listings? And
it can get hectic. Yeah. Depending on the week and the amount of lead calls you have and to get to those and scheduling and stuff in the mix of showings. Yeah, it can get pretty tough.
Yeah. I bet, man.
Yeah.
What's it been like over the last, call it 6 months? We haven't done a podcast in a while. What's it been like in the market? I've been removed since we bought our house. I feel like I haven't paid attention as much as I was last time we talked, but what's it been like just macro?
Q4 last year was our strongest quarter out of 2024. Most of our deals, actually, I think it was 60 or 70% of our business came in Q4, which is pretty common for our sector, the rural sector anyway. For some reason, we're always busy in that Q4 timeframe. January was really busy. We had a lot of carryover from Q4 in 2024 into the first part of this year. So January was really busy. February for us and the first half of March was really slow. I think there was just a lot of uncertainty with where the market was and what Trump is doing. So people were just kind of sitting back, waiting to see. We were quiet on both ends, listing leads and buyers. And with buyers, it's just uncertainty. Sellers, just not really a need to sell, or they don't need the funds to do so. But here the last I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks, it's really picked up again, and it's just riding that wave and preparing for it. And I've been in this business now for a little over 4 years, and seeing those ups and downs and getting more comfortable with it, just understanding that, it is a game of runs. And, but yeah, I mean, as our business is really weather driven too, because
Oh, is it really?
when it's really cold, nobody wants to go out and look at properties. They just don't.
Oh, like as someone buying property.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Who wants to go out there when it's 10 degrees outside and just be absolutely miserable? Nobody wants
Sure.
to. So
Oh, I never thought of it like that. That's funny.
Yep. And the warmer it gets, the more our phone rings. It's crazy.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it kind of makes sense, especially the type of property. Like it's different with residential, I'm guessing. I mean,
Yeah, I would assume. And I mean, when people are in their routine through the school year with their kids, like they're more apt to come out and look and stuff, just more comfortable with that routine. But once you get in summer and you get all these sports leagues and travel ball and all this stuff,
sure.
Their schedules are all over the place. So it's really hard for them to come out and look at properties. But so summer is a little bit hit and miss for us at times. But they're in the spring market and falls when things really get busy for us.
And have rates been like has it been like a big issue or a question mark for you guys? I know it just seems now I'm assuming consumers, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like a lot of people who are maybe your type of property they're buying or even residential, like I'm more used to. The rates have been the rates for kind of so long now that I feel like people are for a long, like what, 2 years ago it was everyone freaking out about how high they were, but lately I don't hear that narrative as much. I'm sure some of it's people are kind of immune and numb to the number, right?
Well, the problem is that during COVID, everybody got really, really spoiled with these very reduced interest rates. So we were very accustomed to all of that.
Yeah.
And my power just flickered.
I was about to say, did you just lose power? He's blacked out there.
I did. We lost power. But anyway, so sorry, I was really distracted.
You're like, hey, rural Indiana here.
Man, I don't know what happened. Anyway.
It's fucking tariffs.
Okay. To start over, we got really spoiled in COVID years with these interest rates in the high 2s and low 3s. And,
yeah.
We were moving real estate like crazy. No matter what you put on the market, we were selling it right away, immediately.
I bet. Oh yeah.
I apologize. I got printers.
No, you're fine. Yeah, whole office is restarting over here.
What a mess. But so now that we're in that climbing interest rate, or we were in that climbing interest rate today, it fell a whole point this morning when it opened. Land rates and stuff, they were in the mid to upper 7s.
I didn't realize they're that high.
Yeah, well, with that, yeah. So if we could settle in that 5 to 6 range and just stay steady there, I think it would be really good. But we really don't hear many people complain about it here as of late. But I mean, we saw some interest rates 8-9% there year and a half ago, and it was, you'd hear people talk about it then, but not so much at this point.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I know I didn't even realize it dropped that much until right before we started the podcast. I mentioned that I got a text about it. Crazy. Yeah, I mean this not to pivot, but it's interesting. The reason I said this podcast will be timely is just because of all this tariff situation, and not that you and I are experts, but I like to think that we pay attention to the market enough to see what's going on. It was wild too. I called my dad. It's interesting seeing like a crazy swing like this happen. Obviously, for you and me, we're younger. I know. I learned my lesson. I think I talked to you about it on the podcast. I learned my lesson the hard way during COVID. I freaked out and sold a bunch of stuff as it was dropping, and it's like the biggest investment mistake I've ever made. So I'll never do that again. So if anything, I just bought more yesterday. I was just like everything I love that was dipping. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm just gonna buy more.
And you talk, it's a good time to buy.
Yeah, it's like it's all discounted. It's all stocks only go up, right? Kidding, but it was interesting talking to my dad this morning because people who are maybe in their like they just retired a few years ago. That's so scary. It's crazy when especially if you have a lot of your wealth into investments, just what that can mean. Just got to weather the storm. But I guess for everyone listening, especially if you've been deciding what to do, it is an interesting time. I don't know what's going to happen long term, but what's been wild, I saw also a lot of the brands that make all their products in the U.S. have had great days. which is wild to see. It's wild how emotional everyone that is investing and moving the needle. Like, there's obviously macro things happening, but yeah. What have you seen? What have you been paying attention to it much, or are you kind of immune to it? I feel like as we've both gotten busier, I probably think about it a lot less than I did even a few years ago. But you pay attention to it much?
You're kind of immune to all the changes, and it's always different. The market's always different. It seems like. So you just like I was saying earlier, you ride that wave. But as far as the tariffs and the way it's affecting everything, get your opinion on this too. I understand what he's doing, what Trump is doing, and he's trying to get manufacturing back in the United States, right? And it might be painful now, but I think long term, I think it's going to make a big difference, and I think that's his play, or at least the way I see it.
You know what's interesting? I don't know. I think as like as a politician, his team is leaning on that really hard because it's a good thing to say, and I'm not saying that's not going to help that sector. But I saw even at like the ceremony they had on Wednesday, like they had tons of people rocking there. They had like guys that were on the line from a Ford plant, had like Ford Jack, like they were leaning heavy into like we're helping the American worker, which I get. I think it will help that to some degree. I just wonder how much I think the macro play is probably, if you think about on paper what he did, he looked across the board, said, okay, here's that crazy list of countries that we pay tariffs to send stuff to them, yet they rely on us for so much of their GDP. How the fuck is that fair?
Well, what we're talking about, right, is the tariffs that we put into place on all these countries. He had right next to it on that board that he was holding what they're charging us.
Yeah.
So I get it.
I don't think anyone pays. I never knew what those rates were. So I'd be lying if I was like, oh yeah, it was news to me. I didn't realize we paid all these crazy rates to all these countries. I think in the micro, like over the next even 6 months, I think it's gonna probably send a ton of ripples. But it's interesting. I mean, it's no different in my opinion than like what Doge is trying to do. I mean, I think a lot of people are like, they hate change, they hate progress. People say they're progressive, but I don't think they understand that progress usually means a couple steps back for 10 steps forward. So if you can hold on, I think we're going to be better than ever, to be honest. I think what's going to happen, I saw it already happened. You see, like Israel came out, Netanyahu came out and basically said like, oh, we're going to, I don't know if he said drop, but basically they're going to figure out a way to make sure that it's fair and equitable. Like long term, it could be really, really good for us. You know what's funny though, and I would be lying if I didn't say this. I don't know what the hell we export. I don't know what are major exports that the U.S. has that drive our economy. I couldn't tell you. That's probably something I should look up on ChatGPT. I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly grain.
Is it grain?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, that's interesting, I guess, because I'm trying to think of the down effects of that. I guess we can't be as competitive in some countries if we have a tariff, but they don't put a tariff on another. Like, let's say England and the U.S. are both trying to ship grain into France. It's a horrible example. And we have a tariff, but England doesn't. I guess that makes sense. I'm thinking out loud here. But yeah, that makes sense. Then we might not get as much of it. I don't know. Yeah.
This is our number one export.
Here we go.
Crude.
Live. What is it?
Export is crude petroleum.
How is that possible?
Not sure.
I thought we don't even. Oh, wild. See, this is a big thing. One of the things that
Cars.
Oh, cars make sense. But I guess other countries are driving a lot of our American-made cars. I guess I didn't know that. I've been to a few foreign countries, and I don't feel like I ever see American cars.
No, that's what I was thinking too. Canada, Mexico, China, Germany, Japan. That's our top 5 export stations.
I think it's more of a play of just trying to make everything fair, which I don't think is a bad thing to do. Unfortunately, what's going to happen though, probably, this is, okay, I'm thinking fast here as I'm talking out loud to you. The one thing that I hate, and I think this is changing for our generation quite a bit, I can't stand going to any news channels, any of their apps, even on like the Apple stock app I have. Yeah. I have to be really careful about which article I click on. Because I was trying to get a good understanding from this, and I realized I'm like, why don't I just go to the White House Instagram page and listen to what the fuck Trump said?
Yeah, that's 100%. Yeah.
That's what I started doing. So for anyone listening, I'm a huge advocate for this at this point. Like I don't listen to any of the news channels
You can't because
because
it's also so portrayed one way or the other.
yeah, and it's like even this tariff thing, you're gonna immediately have this narrative and this notion of if what's good, what's bad, and why we're doing it versus like just go listen to the guy that made the decision, what he said.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. It's so skewed.
yeah, right. It's so skewed. Where do you get your information? I always love asking people this. Where do you get like info daily?
Twitter. Or X,
Twitter.
sorry.
That's what I do too.
Yep.
I do too.
X is number one for me. Yep.
Isn't that funny? I'm with you.
Everything for politics and sports.
I'm the same way. Yeah, X is a good spot.
Yep.
You know, I have to be careful. Have you fallen into any TikTok holes?
Nope, I don't have TikTok.
Oh boy.
No TikTok.
I don't know if I've said this on this podcast before. I went into a deep dark hole in December. I think I was texting you about this.
Yeah.
UFOs.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Holy shit. When they had the drone stuff going on, Kelly had to like literally there were a few nights where she was like, we're going to bed. You're putting your phone away.
Yeah.
Like you're being insane.
Yeah. Well, it's
now,
my version of TikTok is obviously Instagram Reels. So it's essentially kind of the same thing, but
similar probably. Yeah. But it's like TikTok, like as soon as you start going down a rabbit hole, every time you get on, it's all you see.
Same thing with Instagram.
And you start realizing now I'm starting to like, I look at there's like a little icon. You can see that it's the person's face, but they do a good job of, it's really small. So like you can watch a TikTok and not necessarily know it's some Yahoo tinfoil hat guy. I started realizing all the accounts that was popping up were like, they had like alien UFO images as their picture. I'm like, yeah, I gotta be careful. I've slipped.
It's all like, all those social media platforms are all like algorithm based, right? So no matter what you start watching, if you watch more of it, it's just going to keep feeding
it to you. Yep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Though X is great. Do you follow specific people or do you go to like trending or news or how do you go through it?
Yep. Trending.
Yeah.
So I think there's a category, I can't remember what it is, but I think it says for you. And that's, stuff that I commonly look at. So baseball, basketball, football.
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
It's always interesting. It was fun. The reason I asked that, my mom asked me recently. She's like, how do you get your news? And I was like, it's so funny. No one had asked me that.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, I honestly, mine's probably X and podcasts. Funny enough. I listen to podcasts so much that I feel like I end up hearing stuff going on through that. If it's that important, it's probably come up on someone's podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who Naval I'm going to butcher his name. Naval Ravikant? No. He was just on a podcast with Chris Williamson, and he's a big guy on, I'm going to butcher all of this, so it's better just go to him and actually read his stuff. He's big on like minimizing distractions, he basically like deleted his calendar. He doesn't have email, like that kind of guy.
Yeah.
Really interesting though. He just talks about like how much time we waste on social media, listening to the news. He had a really good quote that I told my wife the other day. It hit home for me. It said, "You be like basically if you look at just the vast average American, how many people spend an absorbent amount of time worrying about things like Ukraine, which no offense is so far away, you may never go over there, and it may never actually impact your day to day.
It's just crammed down their throats through mainstream media.
So they're worried about that. They're worried about things a million miles away that they can't control at the end of the day, but they're not worried about their own family." Or like there's like a disastrous situation in their own family, in their own house that they're not taking care of.
100%.
But there's, you know what I mean? It's so true. Like think about how many people or that's true. So that's wild. Well, interesting on the tariff stuff. Are you doing anything different, like from an investment perspective? Like what do you normally do now that we've both lived through a few of these? What do you normally do when you see the news and see things tanking?
I mean, I leave it all into, I work with an investment firm now and leave it all in their hands.
Oh, look at you.
Yep.
Nice. What made you decide to pull the trigger on that?
Time and knowledge. Yeah. Cause like, I mean, in the heat of it, when things were going on during COVID and did a lot of investing, Barstool was big into it. So it was fun doing all that stuff with those guys, that was fun. Learned a lot. That market like that is gone.
Oh, you talking about like the meme coin stuff and the
runs on different stocks,
I don't even think I followed as much as you did. I remember you were all about it. I've been in a very boring. I read a book like right when I started at Cummins called The Intelligent Investor.
Yeah.
And it's from like 1850 something. And it like ruined the like fun investing for me.
Yeah,
I'm boring.
that was just fun. That's all it was.
Did you make some good money from
Oh
doing
yeah,
it?
absolutely.
Oh, okay. I
Made
didn't know
good
that.
money. But now it's just a time thing, and having someone else with knowledge in a more stable environment
Sure.
to
Yeah.
them do that. Yeah.
Yeah. It took me a very long time to finally bite the bullet on that. You know this. Like I've always been like, oh, I could do it. Like I want to do my, and I still do. Like I still probably do too much as far as like pulling numbers and reviewing things. It also just gives me a sense of calm when I know the numbers a little bit because I'm a weirdo with numbers. But I do think that's another thing for people listening. If you've ever been on the fence, I think the hardest thing, and transparently, I battle this constantly, is like how much most finance. I'll bucket them all together, but like wealth managers, finance managers, how much they charge. I know it's something I always try to think through and stomach. But I agree. Like I love my guy that I work with, and he's just really good. He's just calm, and he just like always has great advice as far as just like how do you think long term and not short term, and
So, yeah.
he's good at like calling out potholes or just things we're missing, like little things. Like he's had me set up some plans that I would have never thought to set up, life insurance type
Yep.
things or different investment vehicles. Or when we bought our house, he was super helpful on just thinking about it. He honestly was probably one of the only voices I had that, I know I've gotten this advice from my parents and different people that are in my circle, but like whenever you buy a house, you've probably heard this too. Well, you might hear this all the time. I don't know. I've always heard the notion of, you want to stretch a little bit beyond what feels comfortable because you should grow into a house. And I always like struggled with that. I was like, well, yeah, but that's just always assuming things go up.
Yeah.
Which I always felt like I've always been more conservative when it comes to that stuff. And that
Yeah.
felt dangerous to me.
I mean, I lean on the conservative side too, but yeah, I mean, that's commonly thrown around.
Yeah. And my finance guy did a really good job of, he like basically mapped out like worst case scenarios for me and it made me realize like, oh, like things would have to go really, 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 really bad.
Yeah.
For some of this stuff to be a bad, like, so, I think it helps you get out of your head because I think a lot of times finance decisions are just emotional. I'm sure you see that a lot with what you deal with.
We do. Yeah.
Yeah.
We do.
How many, this is maybe a number you wouldn't know off the top of your head. How many deals, because you deal with bigger, correct me if I'm wrong. I would assume like the average deal for you from a dollar's perspective is way bigger than like a residential real estate agent. Because you're talking about acres and acres and acres of land most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a lot of people that try to back out? Like, is that kind of a thing because how big the investment is? Is it probably relative to what you'd see with, commercial or like residential real estate? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, the first 3 years, I think I had maybe one or two deals fall apart. This year alone, I think we've had 6.
Really already?
Yep, just buyers just back out, get cold feet, or maybe can't get financing, or something changes. Yeah, yep. So it's, yeah, we see it a lot.
Oh shit.
Recently,
Okay.
especially. Mm-hmm.
What do you think's driving that?
Scared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just with the economic environment and
Yep.
everything going on.
Moving forward. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So it's, I mean, being able to deal with that, it's difficult, but like I said, it's something that we weren't used to because we didn't see it very much, especially my first couple of years of real estate. But here in the last couple of months, we've seen it a lot, and there's really there's no consequences anymore. That's one thing that's frustrating on my end. There's no consequences if a buyer just backs out for no reason.
Do there used to be?
Yeah, I mean, you could lose your earnest money or something like that, but I mean, there's just
Oh, you can't. That's not like earnest money doesn't work
yeah, I
that way
mean,
anymore.
it still exists, but I mean, yeah, I don't want to say too much, but yeah,
No, yeah, for sure. No, I'm trying to put you on the spot. I was more curious because I think maybe I see it too on my side. It seems like a weird trend where I don't know if it's just because we're all remote and we've been remote for 4 or 5 years. It seems like it's so much easier now than it was even 5 years ago for people to make, I don't know what the right word is, maybe shitty decisions or just like short bailing, cutting out like a text or an email. There's this lack of empathy and humility to like pick up the phone or tell someone in person a lot of things these days. I've noticed that just across the board,
yeah.
across
I mean, a
all
lot of
sorts
our
of
work is
parts of
done
life.
via email, text messages, phone calls, and it would be a lot more difficult face to face to back out of a deal or have that conversation one on one.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we do everything basically remotely for the most part. I mean, don't get me wrong, we meet with plenty of clients at a kitchen table, but just being able to back out with a simple phone call and not dealing with the consequences or repercussions makes things easier for people to just be like, yep, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm out. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Has there been any, have you felt any of the, I don't even know what I would call it. What was that thing that happened like a year ago? I remember you and I had one big deep call about it, where people were getting mad about, I'm going to butcher this too. The commission thing that was going on. Do you remember that whole thing?
Buyer agency agreements. Yep. So that
Is that fizzled out? Is that all
no,
fine?
I mean, it's a new law now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, we all have to abide by it. It basically took place there July 1st of last year is when that.
What does it mean for you guys?
So when we go show a home or property, anything like that, if a potential buyer looks at a property, we must have a signed buyer agency agreement in order to do so.
Oh,
And that talks about the buyer side commission and representation of the buyer as well. There's still a lot of confusion about it. There's a lot of real estate agents that don't know quite what it means or what it's doing. There's buyers running around with multiple signed buyer agency agreements when they're not supposed to because they're not getting explained to them very well by that agent that's showing them a property. It's just it's a mess, but it's getting better.
okay.
It's getting
But so it basically means you have to sign with one agent and like you're working with that agent
Well, it
solely?
doesn't necessarily have to be that way. It can. So you can have a contract, a buyer agency agreement contract that covers the whole state of Indiana, and you can show that buyer any property within that state that you're licensed in. But it can also be property specific. So you can make a buyer agency agreement that's only specific to that single property as well. So it's basically like a one-time buyer agency agreement for that property.
And what does buyer agency mean? So it's the
where a real estate agent represents that specific buyer.
Okay.
But
so like it was kind of like loosey goosey, like here's my rate. Like you didn't have to have something signed. Is that kind of what you're saying?
right, because like now it's not advertised. It used to be advertised what the seller offered compensation to that buyer agency.
Oh, yes.
Now it's not. Now it's not publicly announced. It used to be announced on the MLS, multiple listing service. And
Oh, I remember that. Like, I could see when we bought our house, I could see what they were offering.
so like if I want to go show this house to a buyer of mine from another agent, it's publicly advertised. It's not now.
Oh.
So
what's the point of that law? I didn't realize that's how that law worked.
because
It's to help, it's to make sure that I get it. It's to make sure if I'm the buyer, my real estate agent doesn't just show me listings that have really good commissions.
yeah, I guess kind of, and the whole merit to it was that sellers claimed that they were getting streamlined into paying like a standard commission. Nobody really felt that way other than the guy that made this claim, and got millions and millions and millions of dollars.
I meant to send you a picture of it. I randomly, I'm sure it's because we bought our house like in 2023. I got some letter in the mail, some class action lawsuit that was like, oh, you bought your house in the last 2 years, sign up and you'll get. I'm like,
yeah. So now this guy, from the way I understand it, I mean, he obviously sued and won, got money, and now apparently he's running a discount brokerage. From what I hear, I don't know if that's true. That's just what I heard.
oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
He's like, let me just keep riding this train. He's probably on TikTok for sure.
Imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
About all over the place. Yeah.
Wild.
They
Okay.
still talk about this deal.
Oh, I didn't realize it was one person that really ruffled the feathers here.
Yeah. From what
Is it across the whole country? Is this like a nationwide thing?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Okay. I remember I told you, I remember when this popped off, I had just gone through ours. I remember telling you, I'm like, it was kind of squirrely. Like, I didn't remember it being squirrely when we bought our first house. And then the most recent, I remember I told you, I was like, it was just it was weird. I feel like the conversation I was trying to have was weird. But again, it's like every one of those is going to be different.
In the very beginning, when this first came out, buyers were very, very confused trying to have this conversation with them when you're showing a property, because it's like, I don't want to go sign anything. I just want to look at this house.
Yeah.
I want to look at this property. And they didn't understand it. So, but we're kind of past that now. So now that most of these buyers that are looking, that they've dealt with this, they get it. That conversation's easier to have and they understand.
So can you explain it to everyone listening? So if I let's say we wanted to go buy a house tomorrow, what changes now? Like when I go to my real estate agent, they have to, is it for every property potentially that we look at, we have to sign something that says like, this is what the commission will be if you buy this?
Yeah, well, not necessarily. So if you want to go look at a house and you want to work with one specific agent, then you would just sign a broad buyer agency agreement. But if you just want to grab an agent real quick and just make it specific to that property, you can. Now, some agents will talk with that listing agent prior to showing you the house, and they'll communicate what the buyer agency compensation is. So they'll write that into their buyer agency agreement, or they'll just write a commission amount in there that the buyer might have to pay. We could talk about this for hours, but
it's so weird. Yeah, I thought the whole point was to make it simpler. It sounds like it made it more complicated.
it made it more complicated on our end, and it confused a lot of potential buyers as well. It ruffled a lot of feathers. It really did. And
I don't know why it has to be so complicated. I feel like it'd be easier for everybody if it was just super simple and straightforward. But
it was 100% unnecessary.
Okay. Yeah, you don't feel like it really helped anybody.
No, the way we were doing business is for the last, I don't know how many years, was fine. I mean, but
yeah, it seems like a lot of red tape.
It really was. There's a big gray area for a long time. Still is. They're still changing rules and laws and everything. I mean, it's constantly updating because they're trying to get this process honed in again to where it's comfortable and it makes sense to everyone. But it really
interesting. Doesn't. Okay. Since we talked last, has there been any major changes on like the technology front? I know that's something you and I have talked about quite a few times. I'm always curious. Real estate in general seems like it's wild how many people are involved. Like when you buy a house.
Yeah.
Has there been anything you've seen?
I mean, AI is going to play a big role, just trying to figure out where that sector is going to go with it and what it's going to do. I mean, for writing property descriptions is probably one of the hardest things I do because you kind of run out of things to say unless it's extremely unique property. But we see so many 40-acre pieces with a block of woods in it. It's like, what can you say here? So
it might help. It actually probably helps you.
It does. Like, running through Chat GPT is made our life easier writing descriptions. But if you don't go in and edit that description, it looks a little corny, throw some terms out there. It's just like,
you're like, what did they say?
Language for us, so you have to like dumb it down a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
Dumb it down, but like, take a step back from it,
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's made life easier, and I'm sure AI is just going to continue to evolve and change our business a little bit too. So kind of trying to think differently into how to get ahead of that and utilize it within a business. That's going to be a big play moving forward. And one thing that we've played around with too, and one thing that we've got our eye on outside of digital advertising and social media and stuff like that is, as we kind of change this demographic, rather than going from like a print advertising sector to digital advertising, that's Google, social media, focusing on that. Because if I need something, what's the first thing that I do? If it's a service, what do? I pull up my phone, go into Google and say, X something near me all the time.
100%. Yep. Oh yeah. Got it. Yeah. Cause I remember when you even first started, you were telling me how much like mail, like I was blown away. I was like, that's still a thing?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, but it makes sense. I mean, you probably have this info. I don't know if you want to share it or can. Do you have, what's like the average age you think of like, do you know? Is it all across the board? Yeah. Like, that's what I wonder. It's like, as different age groups age out, like if some of our generation starts to buy land, if like the way you get
certainly a lot lower, and sellers are a lot older.
Higher. Okay. Interesting. So it's almost like, to get new listings, doing it the old school way probably helps so much, but then to get 2 buyers, you probably need to be doing it. Right. Well, is it all on, do you guys have do you guys use is Redfin and Zillow still used for what you guys sell? Is that still kind of can you, yeah.
All of our, so we're in the MLS, so multiple listing service. So once we put that in there, it's going to kick it out to your traditional residential sites.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. I guess I never realized that the MLS is that's like the central hub for everything, right? Okay. Got it. Interesting. That's so wild, man. Especially the changes coming. With AI, I use every day.
Yep.
I think the cool thing too, maybe this is probably more from a buyer's perspective, but it's so nice. Like, you always had Google, but you search Google and you had to do research. Like ChatGPT, I think what's cool but also dangerous is I'm sure you have situations where you're working with buyers and sellers, but someone can just pull out their phone and ask questions about pricing and rates. And I feel like I use it for that kind of stuff so much, where I just, little things I would have tried to have to go research or ask somebody, I just look it up on ChatGPT or Grok or any of these AI platforms.
It'll do math, it'll do everything. Math problems, calculations, all of it.
Did I tell you the one I did that just threw me for a total Total Loop a couple weeks ago.
Did you do the investment one where you typed in how to invest or whatever, and it just spits out this plan for you?
Oh no, I haven't done that. Is that cool?
Yeah, the people are talking about it. Yeah.
No, I did. It knows obviously because I'm talking to it all the time, but it knows like I run my, I own my own business. I'm here in Chicago. I was talking about all the things like that go into taxes, revenue, all this stuff.
Yep.
And then I said, what would happen if I had the same, basically like the exact same priced house, but I lived in Indiana, or I lived in Nashville, or I lived in Texas or Florida or Colorado, just like all these places. And then I had it spit all this information out. And I said, can you put it in a chart for me? So I created this beautiful chart. And then I said, can you also take, the yearly difference? Basically what I was trying to figure out is like what would happen by our like net income for our home. Yep. And I said, can you also trend that over the next 10 years? Dude. I like walked out of my office and went to Kelly. I'm like, we got to go.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Like that's what's cool though, is like, that's something where how many people say or think out loud, like, oh, maybe we're paying too much in taxes. And there's no context. You're like, yeah, you can look up things on the internet and try to come up with a hypothesis or talk to someone who did something. But like just doing that exercise and then gut checking the math, and you're like, oh, this is like a lot more than I was thinking it was. Like, dude, I don't even want to tell you on the podcast how much like the delta of just being here and paying like the property taxes that we have to pay.
Yeah, man.
I was mind blown. And like I just was like, what if I just put the delta into a S&P 500 ETF? What does it look like over the next 10 years on average?
Yeah.
And I about threw up everywhere.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So it's just interesting. Like you start to like really dive into things and ask questions, and whether it's finance related or it could be anything, any industry. I use it for work too. Like it's wild. It's cool. Have you tried all the other one? Have you tried like Grok and Gemini?
No, just ChatGPT is the only one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Grok's interesting. Grok is the one that's built into Twitter.
Okay.
I just recently, so I've always had ChatGPT on the very front of my phone as a widget. So I just click it once and it goes right to ChatGPT. And I recently changed it to Grok just to play with it and test the difference. I think Grok might be a little better. At least the free version. The free version of Grok is like the paid version of ChatGPT, I think.
Okay, gotcha.
At least right now.
Yep. So my wife works in the accounting department. Braun Ability is the name of the company.
Oh, yeah.
Make wheelchair lifts into the van.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Anyway, so they've recently discovered AI, and they work a lot with spreadsheets and to build these equations within Excel. I mean, they're just doing crazy things by just typing into AI or ChatGPT or whatever they're using to create these formulas. It's crazy.
So so they're actually leveraging it for just daily work. I'll be shocked if it'd be interesting to see if our kids, like the amount of jobs that are in like I call it like middle management. If you can see it today. I mean, there's things that we used to do where we were like, well, we'll definitely need somebody eventually to do this. You just do a lot of it with ChatGPT now. Or you have one person that can do 3 jobs using ChatGPT. It's insane.
It's crazy.
That's a good example. I know that's the one thing I don't know why I haven't just done it for a month, like just paying for the highest, that like $200 a month ChatGPT one, just to play with it and see if it's something valuable. Because that's what I deal with a ton of data. And I think we do a good job right now of using what we can that's available without paying too much for it. But I bet some of that high end stuff I bet you can take a lot away from it and just load it in ChatGPT and search it. Every time, like that was a great example. I'm always trying to talk to people or think about like little things I do in my day. I'm like, can I just throw this into one of these and speed things up? I do it all the time.
Yeah.
It's like it's funny too though. I'm sure you feel the same way. I run into people all the time and I'll ask like, oh, which one do you use? And they don't know what I'm talking about. I'm like, what world do you like? That's crazy to me that you can, like, in 2025, like that goes to show like how many different walks of life there are.
There is.
Like to not have it on your phone at this point, like, whoa.
It's crazy.
Like you don't even know what's out there, dude.
It's
like download that. You're gonna go nuts.
for sure. Yeah.
All right. To pivot a little bit.
Sure.
The next, let's call it 9 months, the rest of 2025. If I'm thinking about getting into land, buying, maybe an investment property or something along the lines in your line of work, what are some things that anyone listening to today should think about, consider? Not to put you on the spot, I was just thinking about it. Like, I've asked you this a couple times. I'm always trying to think about like if you have extra anything that you want to invest in something, land's always been interesting to me for a lot of reasons, but talking to you a couple times about this on the podcast, it's always in the back of my brain because it's, you said it well. It's like there's never gonna be more land. So, but it, like, I guess with pricing and overall, I mean, if you have someone like me that's lives in Chicago and thinking about ways to invest, where does land stack up, and what are you seeing, thinking about? What are you telling people?
Yeah, I mean, so it's simple. It can be summed up really fast, just like you said. It's not something that they're making more of. It's not something more that they continue to produce. So what's here is here. That's it. No more. So it's never going to be looked at as a bad investment. And one thing too that people often forget about that I continuously tell potential buyers is that how much value is there in recreation and making memories, right?
Mm.
It's really hard to put a figure on that.
Oh, I like that.
And there's a buyer that actually called me the other day and was talking about it and resale value and all this stuff. And if he can have X amount of dollars of fun in X amount of years, it's worth it.
Yeah, like putting 100%. Other thing we don't have is time. We don't have more. We'll never have more time.
No, it's 100% worth it if you look at it from that perspective. And I get it; it has to make sense, in your portfolio to make that purchase because it is a large step, and there's a lot of things that come with it. But looking at it from that point of view, to creating memories, spending time out there, doing different things with your family, how much does that equate to?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's cool. For someone like me, I mean, my walk of life. What would I get out of buying, I don't know, a big plot of land out by you? Like, what are some things, like, I mean, maybe get into hunting would be one.
Yeah. I mean,
what for people listening who maybe live in a city that are like, what fun are you doing?
Yeah. I mean, it's based off of, I mean, your lifestyle, my lifestyle is extremely different. We've always talked about that growing up in college.
For sure.
It's just, two different worlds, but, being able to explore different things and showing your kids that more exists than what you're just used to. And I'm guilty. I mean, I don't ever go to the city. My child has no idea it exists. So like, I can't say that I'm diverse in that
Sure.
at all, but like, showing the rural side of things to the entire world. I mean, it makes a big deal. I mean, it's just, it's hunting, it's fishing, it's camping, it's gardening. There's so much more to it, or just a week getaway where it's quiet. I mean,
no, I mean, what's funny when you say that is it's so true. Like, man, can you imagine if Cole and Grayson just like switched for a weekend?
Yeah.
Like, it'd be so good for Grayson to probably just be like, even if it was just like camping, like you own the land, you can go on there and camp and just be out in the woods for a weekend.
Yep. And I mean, there's nothing quite like land ownership. Like it's just, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's really hard to put words to it, but I mean, like my family.
I've seen it though. I mean, I've been with you out to where you own land. It's wild. Like it's wild to think like, oh, this is yours. Like this is your plot of land. You obviously do all kinds of work and take care of yours. Like, not like what I would be doing, but I guess even from like an investment perspective. So there's fun. That's a huge one. Let's say I bought a big plot of land that's wooded by you. Is it realistic to say some of it could be farmed or hunted on? Like, is that a realistic thing? Like, can people, when they're not they're close but not super close, could they leverage it throughout the year?
Yeah, I mean, with a piece of land, depending on what it is. So if it's got productive acreage, what we mean by productive is tillable, so you can cash rent that out to a farmer and get some income back off of it, so you can justify that price when so you have some investment and return on it every year. So having that is definitely a good thing. And if you have wooded acreage as well, there's different things you can do with it. There's programs you can enroll it into to cut back on taxes, or environmental or conservation programs, and to get you a little kickback and stuff like that. But making that large payment makes it a little easier by putting it in programs like that.
Sure. Yeah. Is like charging people to hunt on it? Is that a thing that people like?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So I mean, you're not going to get rich off of it, but it's a way to supplement some income there and just make it more productive. But yeah, you absolutely can. It's very common.
Okay. And then this is probably a dumb question, but I'm sure this varies depending on quality and location. Is there like a rough range of like, I don't even know, is price per acre something you guys are talking about?
As far as like cash rent value?
I'm just thinking like if I wanted to buy a plot of land, like
Oh,
is there like a price per acre? Is it all over the place? I have no clue how much it costs. I've never
you
looked.
name it, anywhere from $3,000 an acre to $20,000 an acre,
Oh wow. Okay.
all over the place.
Okay. Okay.
Just depending on.
It can go that much per acre
Yeah,
out by you?
I mean, you get in productive soils and tillable land, it's going to bring higher value because you're able to make money off of it. But
Yeah.
those recreational properties tend to bring a little bit less, depending on what they are. But something that
Okay.
is productive or you're going to get a return on, it's not going to bring near the price per acre.
Got it. And then this might not be a you question, but is financing for land, is it same kind of process and hoops to jump through as residential? Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of lenders out there that we work with that they're strictly focused on land and homes on acreage and stuff. So,
Okay.
but
okay.
yeah, same process is what it would be if you're buying a house. Same thing.
Sure. Okay. Wild, man. Okay. Very cool. Well, this has been great, man. Thanks for coming back on the podcast.
Yeah, man.
You know, I always like to wrap this up with a couple of the same questions, but the first one, because I'm always curious how you're doing this, because we didn't really get into this, but we should say it on the podcast. You got a big new, I don't know if I call it promotion, new responsibility,
Role. Yep.
a new role. Yeah. So give a quick overview of that. I think that's cool. We should call that out, especially in the history of the podcast.
So I took over team leader role in Indiana. So there's 7 or 8 agents of territory, and then each of them, some of those agents have team members and stuff too. So basically being there to support all those agents all the time, constantly. So it's questions about everything you could possibly imagine, but giving those agents support.
Yeah. So you're like top dog. You're like overseeing
if that's
everybody.
What call it.
Yeah. Nice. Love it. Top of the mountain.
Yeah.
That's dope. So now that you've that plus obviously your responsibilities you've been having, what are the tools nowadays that you put around you to, plan annual goals even further out than that for you from a business perspective and professionally, and then ultimately what do you use every day just to map out the shit you got to get done today?
I mean, I'm pretty basic when it comes to that stuff, but so we use a good CRM. So it's our database for all of our buyers and sellers and our deals that are going on, plus has all of our contacts in there. So having that in front of my face every day is a big deal.
Okay.
Setting goals is just, I like to write mine down and, I break it down per quarter and break it down yearly, obviously, but, usually do that, on paper just so you have it and you can reference it throughout the year. But man, I'm just sometimes I'm a pad and pen guy and paper. And then some days I put everything. Well, it's always in my notes app on my phone. So just to keep organized, because you have so many things going on when you're on the road, you're getting phone calls, and you're trying to keep notes of everything that's going on. And
yeah.
But yeah, whatever it takes to get the job done, whatever you have in front of you to write down or type on or whatever.
Sure. Yeah. I know sometimes it's hard to like keep everything. My problem is always trying to keep everything from every angle organized in one place. I recently started trying Notion. Have you ever heard of that before?
I have not.
It's a software. I had so many people tell me about it, but the hardest thing is it's I don't know how to explain it. It's like kind of like a whiteboard digitally, and you can do like like it's endless. It was basically created by engineers, and so it's like you can build anything any way you like. So the hardest thing is like, well, it's overwhelming to get started. So I've watched a couple YouTube videos that were like, oh, you just start the basics, start playing with it.
Yep.
But I've been doing it for like 2 or 3 weeks, and it's I can see how it's a lot of people say it's like their second brain. It's just like has everything. Anyway. So, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. And then let's dive into source of knowledge, just because you always got a couple. So like the last question of the podcast, just anything you've read, heard, listened to lately that you think people that listening today would enjoy.
You're talking books and podcasts and everything?
Yeah, it's just in it. First thing that pops in your brain, it's like something recently that you read. You're like, oh, this is worth mentioning to the audience.
Well, I read a lot of real estate books, which is
do you?
It was probably boring for most. I
don't know. Yeah, that's cool.
But it's key in my business, so to brushing up on that constantly. But I mean, podcasts are always standard. I always listen to Joe Rogan, and I like the Sean Ryan show. So that's a little bit political and war based.
I started getting into him. He's great.
He's really good.
So good.
He's so good. And but no, one of my goals within the last year is to read the Bible, and I am almost with the New Testament. So.
Good for you. I was curious. Kelly and Grayson before we recorded were in here. Grayson was acting like he was on the microphone, which is hilarious. Yeah, you're wearing the cross. I was gonna say I never knew you were into all that.
You need a lot of faith in this business. So
Yeah, no,
and,
no, it's great. I need to probably get back into it. I did a little earlier this year, a little bit of. I had a buddy that was trying to get me to read the Bible.
I read it.
That's cool, man. Do you really?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk more about that offline. That's cool.
It's puts life into perspective.
Yeah, I bet.
Mm-hmm.
I've had my mom recently did that, and she was telling me the same thing. So I'll take that away today. That's cool, man. Good for you. That's awesome.
Yep.
Well, very good, buddy. Thanks for taking the time. I appreciate it. I know
Appreciate
you're a
you
busy
having me
man,
on.
and I know it's Cubs opening day for you, so this is big.
20
And you
minutes.
gotta,
First pitch.
yeah.
20
Oh
minutes.
boy, here we go.
Yep.
All right. Hopefully it's a strike.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
All right. Thanks, man.